Welcome to another broadcast from Evangel Worship Center in Marianna, Florida. Our service times are Sundays at 9:30 a.m., Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m., and our office is open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. For more information about our church, visit our website at evangelonline.net or call 850-526-2232.
All right, Evangel, let's get our hands together. Get ready to worship God. Giving it all away, away. Giving it all to go your way. And in the Father there is freedom, there is hope in the name that is Jesus. Lay your life down, give it all now. We are found in the love of the Savior. We come alive in you, set free to show the truth, and our lives will never be the same. We're giving it all away, away. We're giving it all to go your way. We are sold out, and we are sold out to your calling. Everything that we are for your glory. Take our hearts now, have it all now. Let our lives shine your light like the morning. We come alive in you, set free to show the truth, and our lives will never be the same. We're giving it all away, away. We're giving it all to go your way. We're giving it all away, away. We're giving it all to go your way. Way we're singing. Come on, lift it up, sing it away. No way, away, away, away. Away, 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 away. Roll back the curtains from our eyes. Now we can see it. Showed us the way, the truth, and light. Oh Lord, you offer our lives to bring you fame. We're caught in your freedom. We're caught in your freedom. We're giving it all away, away. We're giving it all to go your way. We're giving it all away, away. We're giving it all to go your way. The way we're singing, and the way we're singing, lift it up.
Water you turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you, none like you. In the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Ooh, our God. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. There's none like you. 'Cause our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God, and our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? Then what could stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God, and our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? Then what could stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God, our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God.
foes are many, they rise against me, but I will hold my ground. And I will not fear the storm, and I will not fear the storm. My help is on the way, and my help is on the way. And oh my God, He will not delay, my refuge and strength always. I will not fear, His promise is true, my God will come through always, always. Do you believe it? Trouble surrounds me, chaos abounding, and my soul will rest in you. And I will not fear the war, and I will not fear the storm. My help is on the way, and my help is on the way. Oh my God, He will not delay, my refuge and strength always. I will not fear, His promise is true, and my God will come through always, always. Yeah. And I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. Do you believe that today? Sing, I lift my eyes. And I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. Yeah. And I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. One more time, I lift my eyes. Yeah, I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. Oh my God, and oh my God, He will not delay, my refuge and strength always. I will not fear, His promise is true, my God will come through always. Oh my God, He will not delay, my refuge and strength always. I will not fear, His promise is true, and my God will come through and always. I lift my eyes, and I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. And I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. And I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. One more time with all you have, declare it. I lift my eyes, yeah. And I lift my eyes up, my help comes from the Lord. And from the Lord, and from the Lord, from the Lord, from the Lord, yeah. And set a fire down in my soul. There's no place I'd rather be, no place I'd rather be, no place I'd rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I'd rather be, no place I'd rather be, no place I'd rather be than here in your love, here in your love. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. And I want more, 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 I want more. Won't you pour it out? I want more, 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 I want more. Won't you pour it out? And set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God, and I want more of you, God. And set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. There's no place I'd rather be, no place I'd rather be. Lift it up. There's no place I'd rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be than here in your love, here in your love. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. And I want more. Down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God, and I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. I want more. Sing, there's no place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be. Lift it up. There's no place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. There's no place I'd rather be than here in your love, here in your love.
And that is the story of Joe. Now, Joe is a guy who obviously wasn't very good at following through with things. And if there's anything that we desperately want to teach our students that come through in character is to follow through. Because follow through makes all the difference in someone's life. It makes a difference not only when it comes to school, because if you start your paper but you don't finish it, there's no A for effort in school, On your job, follow through is important. Anybody that employs other people in this place can say follow through is important. But follow through is never more important than in our walk with God. We can start out doing some amazing things, but if we don't follow through with them, what have we really done? What change have we really affected? Aren't we all very glad that God follows through? Because if God got us saved and left us there, we'd be in trouble, y'all. We'd be in some major trouble. Well, we want to tell you the story about another Joe. Jonah. See what I did there? See that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jonah was a guy that didn't even want to get started. And I'd tell you more, but watch this.
When I was a boy, I went to church back home in Arizona. And that is where I heard the tale of a man whose name was Jonah. Now, Jonah was a prophet, but that's not why he's remembered. We tell the tale, 'cause in a whale he nearly was dismembered.
No, it cannot be. Your messages are meant for me and my brothers. We are your chosen people. And Nineveh, well, they're not. We're the good guys and they're the bad guys. Please don't send me there with a message of your mercy. Damascus or Jerusalem, I'll be there in a minute. Any town in Israel, just ask me, I'll be in it. Shiloh, Gilgal, Jericho, just say the word. But Nineveh, that is just absurd. Joppa, Aphek, Jezreel, they're all just fine. But Nineveh, oh Nineveh, no, Nineveh is where I draw the line. Something touched me! There's something in the water!
In bitter tears, can't believe I've sunk this low. As I walk the plankton in a sanctum, got out of Dodge, sailed on a bunless bon voyage. You said north, I headed south, toss overboard, good lord, that's a really large now. I'm sleeping with fishes here, in the belly of the whale. I'm highly nutritious here, in the belly of the whale. Bad food, lousy atmosphere, I don't wanna bellyache. How long is this gonna take?
You're feeling pretty blue. You
to know. I said it ain't a pretty sight, no, no. You ran from God this morning, and you're well child tonight. But hold on, hang on. Not so fast, your life ain't over yet. See, we're here to tell you all about a forgiveness that you can get. You see, God's got a mercy, God's got a love. Right now he's gonna lend a helping hand from our love. Praise the Lord, he's a God of second chances. You'll be born how his love and life chances. You can be restored from your darkest circumstances. Our God is a God of second chances. Ain't it good to know a God who gives a second chance?
We don't enough to get a smile from Mr. Grumpy Pants.
So if you say you're sorry for all the stuff you do, know that he'll be ready with a second chance for you. Praise the Lord, he's a God of second chances. You'll be born how his love and life enhances. You can be restored from the darkest circumstances. Our God is a God of second chances. Our God is a God. If you believe God's love is true, then you should know what you should do. If you believe God's love is true, then you should know what you should do. If you believe God's love is true, then you should know what you should do. If you believe God's love is true, then you should know what you should do.
Don't you see? God wants to give everyone a second chance. And so should we.
Jonah was given a second chance. He obeyed the call on his life, and the Ninevites came to a knowledge of God. His obedience led to a great awakening in that land.
Good morning. My name is Curtis Tasker. Taryn, that you heard from earlier, is my wife. And we're on staff within Character. You probably don't see a lot of us because we're actually youth pastors at Grace Assembly in Chipley. So this is a great opportunity for us. We love when we can be here with you guys. We always love worshiping with you at Evangel. How many of you are thankful for a God of second chances? Okay. That was pretty good, but, a lot of you, kind of just sat there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a second chance. All right? So how many of you are thankful for a God of second chances? Right? Okay, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. See, and in Character, we're thankful for second chances, too, because we use them a lot. Sometimes when we're practicing a drama like the one you just saw, which is probably one of the most energetic dramas that we have to do when we travel. And by the end of that, you guys don't always see it, but they're probably walking off the stage panting and bent over and breathing heavy because of how much work they put into that. And sometimes when they're practicing and they get done with this drama, which is like 7 minutes long, Pastor Brian will be in the back and he'll watch it and he'll go, that could be better. I'm going to give you a second chance. And so then they have to do it again. And sometimes they need a third chance and a fourth chance. But eventually we get there. So we're thankful for second chances, even on things like papers that they have to write. Sometimes a first draft, isn't as good as it could be. And so we might give them a second chance. And so you learn that it is good to take advantage of these chances, right? And sometimes God will, he'll give us something to do. He'll give us a message to proclaim, or he'll ask us to do something with our life. And sometimes we turn him down, don't we? We like to point our fingers at Jonah sometimes and say, well, why didn't you just listen to God? It would have been so much easier to just listen to God and go to Nineveh. But I'm not convinced that my life would have been any different if I was in Jonah's place. I probably would have ended up in the belly of that whale too. Because sometimes I hear the voice of God and I'm like, I don't know. We make these excuses, don't we? I'm not so sure that that's really you, God. You wouldn't send me someplace that dangerous. You wouldn't send me someplace that would make me that uncomfortable. In Jonah chapter 3, verse 1, it says, "Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to them the message I give to you." And I am thankful for that word of the Lord that comes a second time. And the key thing is, will you take advantage of it? When you hear the voice of God saying and prompting you to do something, telling you that maybe you made a mistake here, or maybe you should have done that, when you hear that come again, will you just ignore it again and make the same mistake twice? Or will you take advantage of that second opportunity? You see, one of the classes that we take in character is history of the church. And as we've studied the history of the church, you see that the church has done a lot of great things over the last 2,000 years. But there are a lot of times where the church hasn't quite made it. There are a lot of instances in history where the church has made mistakes, where the church hasn't quite lived up to the gospel. And see, we can't go back in time. We can't change those events. We can't get rid of the Crusades, and we can't fix those things. But God has given us a second chance as believers. He has given us the opportunity to do things right today. And maybe things weren't always perfect in the past. But the question is, what are you going to do today with the second chance that God has given you? Will you take advantage of that opportunity? Watch this. This is called Neighbors.
After the mayor and his wife toured the camp, they were so disturbed and ashamed trade unionists. I did not speak up because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. I did not speak up because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me. By that time, there was no one left to speak up.
Jesus tells the story of a traveler. He was beaten, robbed, and left for dead along the side of the road. Both the priest and the Levite passed him by. It was the Samaritan who was moved by compassion and stopped. Now we like to scoff at the priest and the Levite, and we like to think that we are the good Samaritan.
When it's the people we go to school with,
Our coworkers,
Our friends.
our neighbors, that we are passing by, doing nothing for as they are on their way to hell. The opposite of love is not hate. It is this monster named apathy. Won't you be, won't you please, please won't you be my neighbor?
Sometimes people don't know what to do after that drama. Because even though it tells historical accounts, it helps us to see that sometimes in our own backyard things are happening and we get so wrapped up in our own lives, or we become so apathetic to the situations around us that we just don't notice them anymore. And sometimes we just need a little wake-up call to go, I must be aware of the needs that are around me. We've got a student that just graduated last night. His name is Jacob, and his goal is to be on the missions field, and he was just approved this past week, just before graduation, to head to Laos with Joshua Jacks. He's going to be helping him over there, and his MAPS assignment was approved last week. And you hear that and you go for it, dude, go. And we go, that's so cool that you get to go and you get to say that stuff. But we have a responsibility right where we are. And there are people just as lost in America. We need to open our eyes and look at our nation and realize how lost we are. We may not be the Christian nation that some of us grew up celebrating. We're losing that because if we're not careful, the church has become so apathetic. And we don't pay attention sometimes to the people who have incredible needs that are around us. You've heard part of my testimony. I didn't grow up in church. Not until I was 12. That's when I came to know Christ, but I grew up in a Catholic family, and we were in church very, very rarely. And so all I knew was do this. I can still say the Hail Mary. I mean, it was so ingrained in us. But I didn't know Jesus. And I came to know Jesus because my drug-addicted cousin stumbled into a little Assembly of God church and met Jesus. Not the Jesus of stories, but the Jesus of truth. The Jesus of the Bible who transformed lives 2,000 years ago and we discovered was still in the same business. And I'll never forget the day that I came to know Christ. And it's over 40 years ago, and I've been serving Jesus for a while. But I remember how passionate I was that I had to tell people that I knew about Jesus. See, where I lived in the projects, it was not unusual for me to look out of our front door and see people shooting up heroin right across the street and just dodging the needles. It was kind of what I grew up with. I was drunk for the first time when I was 3 years old. It's what my family did. But for those of us that didn't grow up around that, or that grew up, from the time we were this big, we've been surrounded by church stuff. It's easy for us to disregard the need that's out there, to not be aware of the incredible need that surrounds us. I'm so thankful for a church that recognizes, that tries so often and on a regular basis instructs the people. We're surrounded by need. And if as the church we are not responding to need because we have an answer, then we're not being the church. But I also want to challenge you today with the fact that there are needs in this room. And there are things that maybe we walked in with today that the devil wants to keep us imprisoned in. Sad to say, some of the statistics of what goes on in the lives of church people, it's not much different than in the lives of people who aren't in church. Folks, I want to tell you today, we serve a God who is bigger than our struggles, who is still delivering and setting people free. Do you believe that? Let's not be apathetic. Not just to the needs of other people, but to our own. To the things that we walked in with today. And you know what? We don't have to get all cleaned up to come to Him. He's okay with our messed up selves coming to Him. But He doesn't want us to stay messed up. Okay? We want to close our time with you today with this. The devil desires nothing more than to hold us captive and to eventually destroy us. He will imprison us by causing us to focus on our weaknesses. God is not overwhelmed by your struggles. Jesus died for those struggles. So whether it is a battle with pornography or lust, or maybe depression has you in its grip, perhaps you have an addiction of some sort, or you are crippled by a low self-image or insecurity. Whatever it might be, Jesus wants to meet you right where you are.
Dear Lord, I'm on my knees again. I come to you because you understand. I've tried so hard, but I just can't change myself. That's why I know I need your help. So here I am, and this is my plea. My only hope is your love for me. I'm reaching out so desperately. Come take my hand, take all of me, just as I am. Oh Lord, you make what's broken new. Why can't I just learn to follow you? I want to know you, to feel you in my soul. I surrender all control. So here I am, this is my plea. My only hope is your love for me. I'm reaching out so desperately. Come take my hand and take all of me, just as I am not afraid.
You see, church, we have the opportunity today to make one of two choices: to stay and to remain apathetic to the needs around us and to our own needs, or we understand that we serve a God of a second chance. We understand that in spite of ourselves, in spite of our shortcomings, He is faithful. He is stronger and He is greater than any lie that the enemy could throw at you. And this morning, I'm confident of one thing, and that is this: that some of you have walked in here this morning wearing a spiritual jumpsuit, and you find yourself in a prison that you can't get out of in your own strength. Maybe you've stumbled in here today and you've gone, you know what, I'm about to give up because I can't do it anymore. And you're exactly right with that statement. We can't do it on our own strength. But we serve a God who is stronger, greater, and more powerful than we can ever imagine. And He's willing to take us just as we are. So I'm going to ask you to do something really simple this morning. Could we all just close our eyes for just a moment and just think? Let's do a real moment of soul searching here and just be really, really honest. I understand we're playing to a church crowd today, but I also understand because I grew up in church my entire life, and if we're not careful, we learn how to play the game and we remain apathetic with our own situation. We can never bring freedom to others if we ourselves are not first set free. And so can we just ask ourselves this morning, is there something written on my life that I've got to get right? If that's you this morning, maybe you're here and you've never accepted Jesus in your life and you want to do that for the first time. If that's you, I'm just going to ask you to look up at us right now. We're down front and we want to lead you to Jesus. We want to see you set free because He'll take you just as you are. If that's you, would you lift your head and look at us this morning? Yeah. I need Jesus in my life. I'm going to take it a second step now to every single one of us in the church. I'm going to ask you, is there something written on your life that you've got to deal with, that you have to get right? Because He'll take you just as you are. It doesn't matter who you are, from the youngest to the oldest and every person in between. This is for you. Is there something written on your life that you need to get rid of? If that's the case, would you look up at us right now and say, I've got to come just the way I am. And let Him cleanse me, let Him take care of me. Yeah. All across the room. Why? Because we're all human, we all make mistakes, we all fall short, but we serve a God of a second chance. And He's willing to take you just as you are. Church, could we stand all across the room this morning? I want to give you an opportunity to respond. We love our home church. We love y'all here at Evangel. And these are the moments that we live for, because we believe it's our opportunity to be able to, in some small way, pour back into you. So if that's where you find yourself today, if you lifted up your head for either of those needs, I'm just going to invite you, if you would, to come down front and let one of us pray with you. Church staff, if you guys would want to join in prayer for these as well, but just come on. There's no formal invitation beyond that. If you lifted up your head and you need prayer, then would you join us this morning? Would you come down front and just let one of us pray with you? This is your opportunity. Yeah, the first step is always the toughest, but I promise you this, He'll meet you every single step of the way after that, but the choice is ours. The choice ultimately rests with us. He'll take us just the way we are. Yeah, come on. As these are praying down front and we continue in this attitude of worship, I'm going to invite you and give you an opportunity. Maybe you're standing there this morning, you're going, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. My walk with Jesus is strong and I'm good. But if that's the case, then I'm going to ask you to take this a step further. I mentioned it a moment ago that I believe that our lives, we are set free, not just for our own freedom's sake, but so that we can bring freedom to other lives. Do you believe that, church? So I'm going to ask you if you would think of just a handful of lives represented by people that you know need to experience freedom that you're surrounded by every day. It might be your friends, your family members, your co-workers, your classmates, anyone in between that you know they need to experience the freedom that I'm experiencing here. Because it's real, it's life-changing. And once you experience the love of Jesus, how many of you know you can't replace it?
You can't express it. All you can do is just live it out every single day. And we have the opportunity to bring that kind of freedom to the world around us. So if we could, as we close this time in worship, could we just call out those names, think of those names, and be in an attitude of prayer and say, in Jesus' name, I want them to experience the same freedom that I've found in him.